Hello, thank you for joining me on my channel today. My name is Alexa and I'm 2 days shy of being 1 year post-op for my septo-rhinoplasty. On July 28th, 2021, I had a septo-rhinoplasty done by Dr. Kim at Natural Face Clinics in upstate New York. I recorded my first week of recovery, so from surgery day until getting my cast removed. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up here and I'll also link it in the description. I also have a 1-month rhinoplasty update, and that's pretty much where I left you guys off. I said I was gonna come back with a 3-month update. I did film that, but I wasn't really happy with the quality of the videos, so I never ended up posting it. After that, life kind of got ahead of me. My family moved all the way across the country really recently from New York to Utah. I'm here in Utah right now. I have that video also coming. I feel like rhinoplasty needs to be the priority right now because a lot of you have been waiting so long for me to give an update. You've been commenting, and I'm sorry it's been taking so long, but I did just have my 1 year post-op appointment, and I had an injection done at that appointment, and then I needed to wait for that to kind of cool down a little bit. There was a lot of swelling that went on. I was regretting a lot of things, so I just wanted to wait until all of that was cleared up so that I could give you a full update. So it takes about a year, sometimes 2 years, but usually about a year for a rhinoplasty to heal. I'll put up some pictures of my nose before I had my rhinoplasty surgery. There were quite a few aesthetic concerns that I had about my nose, and then I also had some functional concerns as well. I had extremely large turbinates that needed to be reduced, and I had a previous break. I had broken my nose at least one time, but it's possible multiple times, from getting hit in the nose and a car accident and falling on my nose, getting mosh pits, just getting hit in the nose a lot. I had a very visible break on the right side of the bridge of my nose, and thus some breathing problems on that side of my nose as well. My nose was slanted to one side, and I also had collapsing external nasal valves. Aesthetically wise, I felt that my tip was bulbous, so we reduced the tip, we rotated the tip upwards slightly, and then I also had my bridge kind of shaved down into more of a ski slope instead of being straight, and it also would kind of turn out at the bottom, so I wanted a super tip break. Those are all the things that I had done to my nose. I would say that most of the contours of my nose after surgery were really beautiful. I think overall the shape was really nice. I did have a bump on the bridge of my nose where that break was that I told you about. The way that my doctor described it is that area was the junction of bone to cartilage. In order to smooth that kind of transition, he took extra cartilage and sliced it up like a pate and placed it on top to kind of even out that gradient, trying to make a smooth transition. And it was just very swollen, and so it looked like almost as if he hadn't taken that bump down at all. So I had a bump here on my bridge. That's now gone. I'll give you a close-up. And then another concern that I had in my last video was that I had a lot of swelling on my super tip area. That has also gone down, but mostly on one side only. It's confusing. So when you look at me from the left, you don't see the swelling, but that's because the swelling is on the left side. So when you look at it from the right, you can see that swelling that's on the left. A little bit confusing, but I'll show you pictures and hopefully it will kind of make sense. But let's go back to my last post-op appointment, which was on October 8th of 2021. So that's about 10 weeks post-op. I ended up getting a Kenalog injection. And I think I talked in my last video, I was saying I wasn't sure if I was gonna end up getting the Kenalog injection or not because I was doing a lot of research on it, and I thought maybe it would have been too early in my recovery process to safely get a Kenalog injection. But I followed the guidance of Dr. Kim because he had not steered me wrong yet, and he said that it would be a good idea for me to get a Kenalog injection in my tip and also in that pate of cartilage that he put right here. The injection itself did hurt a little bit, but it's nothing you can't handle. Just afterwards, expect to look crazy. I will put up pictures of what I looked like after that Kenalog injection. You swell up immediately, and that swelling stays for a couple days. So I was very worried after getting that injection, but I just had faith that the steroid would start to actually do its job and take effect within the next week. So it takes about 7 days to start seeing the results of the Kenalog injection. Kenalog is a glucocorticoid, which is a steroid that helps with inflammation and swelling after surgery. It decreases the swelling and inflammation between the cartilage and the nasal skin by decreasing the body's immune response. And there are positives and negatives to it. Really simple positive, it reduces the swelling and inflammation. It reduces scar tissue that's already been formed, and it prevents new scar tissue from forming. It's ideal for thick skin, which is the kind of skin that I have, and people with thick skin normally develop a lot more scar tissue than people with thin skin. But there are some negatives as well. Decreasing your immune response is not always ideal because your immune system is what keeps you from getting sick. And if you do have thin skin, it can cause atrophy to your skin. Atrophy can cause a depression in the skin. It can change the color of your skin, hypopigmentation. It can cause blood vessel abnormalities. And sometimes it requires a series of shots. If it doesn't completely do the job on the first time, you have to repeat your injections every 4 to 6 weeks until you have your desired results. And if you try to get this injection after your 12-month mark, it's not going to work. And after all this research that I did online, I found a lot of discrepancy on when exactly you're supposed to receive this injection. Some people say between 1 and 2 months because it prevents the scar tissue from ever forming in the first place. But then others argue 3 to 4 months is better because some of the scar tissue that's forming in months 1 and 2 is actually good scar tissue that's going to reinforce the structure of the nose. So not necessarily something that you'd want to be preventing. They also argue that a lot of this swelling is not scar tissue at all, but edema, and that will resolve on its own. Ultimately, I decided to put my trust into my doctor's decision, and I ended up getting that Kenalog injection at my 3-month post-op appointment. So I started to see the effects of the Kenalog injection about a week after I got it, which is normal, and then at about 2 weeks post Kenalog injection, I started to notice a dent in the bridge of my nose. It was only kind of noticeable under certain lights and at certain angles. I could also, after running my finger over the spot, I could feel the bony prominences underneath. So I was kind of wondering if that was an inverted V deformity starting, or if it was atrophy from the Kenalog injection. Now I know that it was probably a result of the Kenalog, and I ended up getting that fixed in my last post-op appointment, which is what I kind of previewed to you before. I got a round of hyaluronic acid filler into that depression to fill it. So I guess I can go into the details of my 1-year post-op appointment now. It wasn't exactly 1 year. It was like a couple weeks ago that I went, but close enough. So at that appointment, he just did a quick look over my nose. Everything looked great. I had no complaints from my side except for the supratip swelling that still appears on the left side of my nose when you look at me from the right. And I was wondering if that was scar tissue and if I should get a Kenalog shot in this area. And he said that no, he didn't think it was scar tissue, but swelling and cartilage that still needs to go down. So he's assuring me that that's going to go down on its own at this point because it's been a year. I'm not sure how confident I am in that. I feel bad because he hasn't steered me wrong. Everything has gone really well, so I feel like I should believe him, and he's the expert in this field, obviously. But I just have a sneaking suspicion that this little bump isn't necessarily going to go all the way away. And if that is the case, I will not be getting a revision rhinoplasty. I don't want to start getting greedy and then end up compromising the function of my nose, or it ends up looking worse after the second surgery. I think a rhinoplasty is definitely a surgery that's a one and done. You shouldn't go into it thinking, well, if there's something still not right, I could keep on getting it fixed, because once you start getting into the second, third, 4th rhinoplasties. I mean, you're really compromising your nose at that point. And then the second question that I had for him was about the depression here. He had offered me hyaluronic acid filler at my last post-op appointment before that, and I declined it at that point. I needed to do some more research into filler and just like kind of sit on it and see how it was really going to heal. There are risks to getting filler, especially in the nose. There are some pretty important arteries and veins and nerves in your face, right around your nose, and there are documented cases of people going blind after getting filler in their nose. And obviously that's very rare, but it's definitely something that you want to consider before, going through a procedure like this. So I decided, yes, I wanted to get the filler to fill in the depression in my nose there. He poked me a few times. I know he did some over here on this bump. I know he filled this in. I don't think he did any near the tip or down here. I think it was all like on the upper portion of my nose. I'm pretty sure that these injections were more painful than the Kenalog. Still tolerable, but this one hurts quite a bit more. I will insert pictures of what I looked like before getting the injection and one day after getting the injection. I was very upset. I felt like I had made a huge mistake. That ski slope bridge that I had was gone. Everything was rounded out, and I was really worried that my nose was gonna stay like that because, normal filler that you put into your lips, it goes away on its own because it's a very high mobile area, but your nose basically has no mobility, therefore the filler stays a lot longer. So I was really worried that I was gonna have to deal with this filler for a long time or go and get it dissolved. I did make a couple mistakes. I was instructed not to wear sunglasses for 2 weeks after getting the injection, and I accidentally wore sunglasses for an entire hour while outside one time. Luckily, it didn't leave any indents and everything was fine, but yeah, I did accidentally do that. All in all, everything ended up working out, and I'm really happy with the way that my nose looks now. I think that this surgery was 1000% worth it. It may be hard for other people to really see the difference in my nose, but I did go to a place called Natural Face Clinics. I didn't want to look like a completely different person. I just wanted to look the way that I felt inside. When I look in the mirror, I do look as beautiful as I feel, which is just a really wonderful thing. Sorry, my camera cut off as I was telling you prices. My surgery was $3,500, I believe, and I was covered under my insurance for my septoplasty, which included my turbinate out fracture and the repair of my collapsing nasal valves and the deviated septum repair. Overall, it was a really good price, especially for being in New York. I know it's upstate New York. I got a quote from Long Island that was $20,000. I just want to be a friend here that you can talk to, bounce ideas off of. So comment and ask me anything that you want, and congratulations to all the people who are getting their surgeries. It is such an exciting time and I'm so happy for you. I hope that everything turns out in your favor. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!